possible because, it's not easy getting up here and talking to a room full of people. But I told her that when she gets up here, she's going to feel really powerful because this crowd is so welcoming and they are here to support her. So please, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome graduate speaker Melissa Whetstone.
They've got a box for the short people. My name is Melissa Whetstone. I also go by Songbird. I am a graduate of First Step Class 181. It's an awkward honor to be asked to talk about yourself for a few minutes or so. I'm still deciding if this will be helpful, enlightening, or if I've just gotten into a hostage situation with a captive audience. Either way, here we are. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Right? Brooklyn stands up. My parents were city workers who were very involved in the community. My mom was a teacher and entrepreneur. I like to think I had Martha Stewart at home, and she was Black. My dad was a pastor in Seafood who taught martial arts, and I lived next door to my grandparents. My grandmother was my best friend. I had 4 sisters and a brother, and I even had a chicken coop with funny chickens I like to chase. From all outward appearances, my life was blessed. No one could see the conflict in my family or my heart. I went to church 3 times a week. I sang in the choir. I performed in all the plays. But the nightmare that was my daily life was unimaginable. I was abused by my grandfather, and the other adults in my life looked the other way. It's an uncomfortable truth, and one that stripped me of my innocence. It skewed my thoughts of love, protection, and community. It was confusing, and I blamed myself. I remember the day I got the courage to tell my best friend, my grandmother, what her husband had done to me. I was 12 years old. She believed me and said that she'd move and take me with her. She found an apartment, but the week we were supposed to move, she passed. I still remember the silent scream in my head. I was devastated for so many reasons. She was the only person I ever felt deemed me worthy. I learned to hide in plain sight, but I was always afraid that people could see the shame that I was taught to hide. I could not understand why the people who were supposed to love and protect me barely even knew I existed. They could not hear my pain or see my cry. At first, I lost myself in books. Then I began rebelling against everything. I wanted to be liked, admired. I wanted to feel worthy. I wanted love, and it led me down a dark path in search of it. I began cutting school in high school and exhibiting a lot of self-destructive behaviors. I was just checked out, and looking back, I was deeply depressed. When I was 15, I got in a relationship, and by 16 years of age, I was pregnant. I gave birth to my oldest son at the age of 17. I wanted desperately to be a good mom. I loved my son, but I was struggling with it all. Finally, I had a spiritual encounter. I became heavily involved in church, and I was a worship leader. I performed in every play. I was at every meeting, but Jesus did not fix me. In fact, the church furthered the feelings of unworthiness within me. At this point, my parents were divorced, and I was living with my mom. I started dating someone outside the church. I was 20. He was 12 years older. My mother didn't approve. At the time, I was also trying to talk about the abuse I had experienced as a child. This created a rift between us, and I was kicked out. I went to live with my boyfriend. The church did an intervention and convinced me to move back with my mom, but that didn't last long. One day, my mom offered to watch my son for the weekend while I stayed at my boyfriend's. When I came back, she refused to let me in. I learned that she had gone to the courts claiming that I had abandoned my son. I didn't know what to do. My mother took custody of my son, and all I could do was have visitations and calls while I tried to get myself together. For the next few years, I focused on trying to build a new life with the hopes of regaining custody of my son. To make ends meet, I worked sales jobs, but I also followed my passion for music. I recorded as a studio singer. I performed off-Broadway in plays and in church choir performances. But I still couldn't get custody of my son, and my boyfriend and I separated, and I slept on trains and airports until my ex's family took me in. Then I met someone new, and we'll call him Jay. Jay was on parole, but he said that he was trying to turn his life around. Little did I know that he was selling drugs. I confronted him about it, and he pointed a gun at me. I was 4 months pregnant with our daughter. Then there was a shooting in Brooklyn, and he was blamed and ended up being in custody for 9 months. I felt like I couldn't have another child without being married, so I married him and gave birth to my daughter while he was in prison. Yeah, I thought God would help turn him around. He was acquitted, but went back to his old ways. He was in and out of jail, and I would go between staying with him, his family, and the shelter system. During that time, I had my youngest son. I felt like I had ruined my life. I broke down. I didn't want to be in this place. So I started journaling, and this felt like the beginning of my healing journey. It was the first place I felt safe to explore my feelings and my fears. I finally ended things with Jay once and for all. I moved into a shelter with my 2 youngest kids, where I had access to daycare, and I was able to work and save up some money, and eventually I got into an apartment. I started dating again and met someone I thought would be good for me. He was charming, he was charismatic, but he ended up being very abusive. It ended when we got into an argument and he became violent. He crushed my vocal cords. It was a year before I could speak again. I'm a talker, I'm a singer, and to have something like your voice taken from you, I still can't explain it. I had ended the abusive relationship, but I still felt stuck. It was time to get therapy. I began talking to my family about what my grandfather had done to me, and this put me at odds with my family because they wanted to keep hiding, but I was done hiding. At that time, I got into spiritualism. Spiritualism took me more into myself and made me curious about myself. I began reading tarot cards, helping people with the struggles they had in their own lives. Even when I faced challenges, I've always tried to help people, and spiritualism gave me a way to do that. Then Jay reappeared and threatened me, telling me he was going to shoot me. I got an order of protection and began filing for full custody of our children to ensure all of our safety. I was connected to another therapist at a nonprofit, and it was here that I learned about First Step. When I came to First Step, I was definitely nervous. I was worried about making it to all the classes, as I was in court trying to get full custody of my 2 younger children. I had tried other programs, but it never worked. They either had the resources but not the support, or the support but not the resources. But I was determined, even though I had no idea how this was going to get done, it was going to get done. First Step had both the resources and the support I needed. I met amazing people. I learned Word, Excel. We talked about empathy and active listening. We had workshops, guest speakers, mentorship, and one-on-one support. They had everything I was going to need on my journey. It means so much to have people support you and believe in you and push you. I have always felt like I was here to help people, but First Steps helped me figure out how to find solutions and bridge the gaps for people. First Step gave me the confidence to build myself up to the point where I could be an asset to myself and to my own community. After graduating, I began my job search. Applying and applying and applying was daunting. It felt like I was never going to get something. I was offered sales jobs, but that wasn't my passion. I wanted to work in human services. As hard as it was, First Step was always there with a short phone call or a text, and they really keep you going. Finally, after many applications, 275 to be exact, I was offered not 1, but 2 jobs in human services. When I got the calls, I thought, is this real? I thought it was a psych out. I now work as a peer specialist for the Bridge, where I use my personal experience in the shelter system and with depression to help others experiencing homelessness. It's hard work. It's hard work, but I love the people that I meet. I'm also happy to say that I now have full custody of my 2 youngest children. And I'm also close with my oldest son. My kids are just the best people ever. First Step gave me community. The job training is helpful, but the sense of community and confidence is life-changing. You can have all the resources in the world, but without the community, it's hard to make anything happen. I'd love to tell you that there's some magic moment when everything is said or done, but success is what you're doing right now. Showing up for yourself every day. Days when you feel great and days when you don't even feel worthy. Be proud of all you have accomplished, knowing that your greatest moments are ahead of you. And no matter what's behind you, you're not only an overcomer, but a victor. Stand tall, believe in yourself, and keep showing up, knowing that the Most High and your community will meet you where you are. I want to thank God and my ancestors who came before me and kept showing up, kept pressing towards a future, and I'm living proof. I'm nothing and nowhere without God and without them. My amazing support system and my incredible man and baby, so he's over there. My family, because, character development, and I love them. Gabrielle, the therapist who referred me to First Step, you are incredible wherever you are. My mentor, Kiara, I have learned so much, and just your presence alone is magical. These beautiful women who helped me write this speech and put it together. I don't see all of you, but you are incredible. I love you. And most of all, Katie Mack. Katie, the heart and the team that you put together is truly life-changing. And what you and the First Step crew are creating is legacy for generations to come. And to think all this happens just by taking the first step.
You guys gotta cry.